This is Daniel from NNC Services, and today I'm very delighted to host a very special podcast called Omnichannel Growth Enablement Campaigns and How to Optimize Them. And to tackle this very hot topic, I've invited two of our long-term time partners, Galen, founding partner at BrandGen, and Tom Sturm, CEO of Sturm International. Galen deals very much with ABM, and Tom is a master at omnichannel and outbound campaigns. That's why let's start with a short presentation of NNC services, and then I will give the mic to the guys so they can introduce themselves, and we can tackle the today's subject. We are a leading marketing and management company, and we pride ourselves in calling ourselves a full stack digital marketing agency. That's why we wouldn't be able to provide an entire array of services if we didn't have partners like Galen and Tom to better support us on those channels and make sure that we reach our target audience in various ways. I have a few numbers over here, but I'm not going to bore you with them. Uh, it's suffice to say that we've been on the market since 2006. IT companies worldwide are our customers. We've had customers from other verticals, but clearly IT is where we are most comfortable, and this is where we rely our services to. Like I told you, we are a full stack digital marketing agency, so our services start from marketing strategy, which is how the company actually started in 2006. And then as the company evolved, we managed to also provide inbound marketing, outbound marketing campaigns. So any type of content, any type of performance campaigns, and any type of outreach, we are able to deliver it. Clearly, there is a lot to talk about that. But again, this today's subject is around omni-channel campaigns, so I won't take that much out of this. When it comes to marketing strategy, like I told you, we're talking about a few options and clearly a lot of ways that we can do it and better map your business objectives with marketing activities. And we're talking about implementing the strategy with inbound marketing from social media, online content, search engine optimization, things like that, all the way to outbound marketing. And Tom later on will have the time to talk about that as well. Marketing automation. We're HubSpot, Salesforce, and all the big players partner with us. That's why we're able to provide these services, and clearly leading to another line of business that we have, employer branding, and also B2B Academy, where we are designing custom boot camps. We are making sure that we coach and we train your people, and clearly we have this piece of business that is called B2B Academy to educate the market, and every now and then we actually have webinars around the various ways of tackling new technologies like AI, various ways of producing leads for your customers in this ever-changing environment. And clearly, we are here for you in different ways. We can work on a retainer basis. We can be there on demand and fix a few things, on actually pick up on the tasks that somebody else from your company left on, or we can work on a project basis. Few of our customers, clearly, like I said, we've been dealing a lot into the IT department and IT sector, and also a little bit of industrial sector as well, but mainly focusing on technology companies where they are or where they needed us. Offices in Romania, Boston, Massachusetts, and also representative office in Poland. That's why we're able to target and tackle these markets as well. I would stop over here and also give a chance to my fellow uh, invites all today, and let's hear it from first of all from Tom, if you're okay with it. I know your company specializes in omni-channel outbound, so maybe you can do a bit of intro and also share with us how integrating this outbound into marketing campaigns can enhance the overall lead generation efficacy.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan, and thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here with you and Galen. And yeah, when it comes to outbound and omni-channel and marketing and inbound, I would say that it's actually a two-way street. So in a lot of cases, what we've seen from our side is that we work with a lot of customers that really relied heavily on outbound, sinking in even 4, 5, 6 figures per month, and the results just weren't there because either branding wasn't there, the materials weren't on par, website wasn't on par, or they just simply weren't investing into inbound. And now this can sometimes be as simple as when you're running a LinkedIn outbound campaign, you also need to focus on creating some type of materials that you're going to be showcasing either on a weekly or on a monthly basis. And at other times, this can be a lot more complicated, and you can run true omni-channel strategies where you're going to be running cold calling, emailing, you're going to be running LinkedIn, and simultaneously hitting people off with Google ads, LinkedIn ads, and so on and so forth. So I'd say in today's day and age, one really cannot exist without the other. There's so many tools on the market right now that can allow you to simply get into this field, either by doing automation of outbound or by even simply setting up some type of campaigns either on LinkedIn or in Google. But one without the other isn't super functional, I would say. For any serious company, especially working in the B2B sector, where it's becoming harder and harder to propel yourself and get a hold of those targets, get qualified meetings in, yeah, I really think that every company should leverage both and have complete alignment across the board. It's not once that we've seen and worked with companies that are even 200, 500, 1,000 plus people in size where sales is doing one thing, marketing is doing another, and there's just no alignment coming across the board. So this, I would say, is really, really, really important.
Yeah, have to agree over here. Alignment is always an issue. A lot of our prospects are reaching out to us in order to just help them communicate better between the teams. Sales and marketing is gonna always gonna have a war between them. So then,
Absolutely.
yeah, your
Yeah.
salespeople are always gonna come to you and say that you're not providing enough leads. And yeah, talking about this successful track record of yours in lead generation, could you, I don't know, maybe give an example of a key strategy for seamlessly integrating these outbound efforts with other marketing channels and to provide the cohesive strategy and structure that you were mentioning?
Oh, absolutely. And I think here we can mention a project that we were working on together with NNC. We had a client that is a manufacturer of, well, let's call primarily helmets for military use, for spec ops, for police and similar. And of course,
Nice.
the military sector is something that's, yeah, it's excessively difficult to get into, and it's also difficult for companies to understand, what they can do to increase their sales because majority of their sales is coming from acquaintances, from relationships that have been developing for 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years. And when we first got the project, of course, it's a company with bigger budgets and they're open to trying anything because they hit a wall that they couldn't climb on top of anymore. And when we were sitting and kind of contemplating what we can do with outbound alone, there's only so much you can do. Their primary source of sales was attending conferences and it was meeting with new people, attempting to push their products. But that's also super limiting. You can't come to these
Yep.
conferences with 50 sales execs. It's just not the way it works.
Yep.
So what we did for about a year or two, we supported them just by doing outbound booking meetings at these conferences. But this was also relatively limiting. Despite the fact that they are one of the biggest names in the industry, it's still some doors are difficult to get into, especially government sectors. So
Yep.
when we first got in touch with you guys regarding this project, and when we started working on some type of a roadmap and what we could do, a fantastic example of a true omni-channel campaign was when we were running LinkedIn ads, Google ads, even Instagram ads, Facebook ads that were location based. So if the conference, for an example, was happening in Paris, and if we have the exact location of the conference, we take a 500-meter circumference and essentially push ads to everybody in the area. This means that every person,
Nice.
which they will be, of course, opening their phone, checking messages, going on social media, they'll be receiving pop-ups and ads everywhere they go. On the other end, our team relied super heavily on getting good qualitative data of companies who will be attending, of governments, people who will be attending these conferences, extracting the data, of course, in a GDPR compliant way, and hitting them both through the conference app and also on social media on LinkedIn. When you combine those two approaches, what we see in comparison year before on the same conference, we were able to secure 10 meetings, maybe a couple of more leads after. And this, the first time that we integrated this true omni-channel approach, we were able to book 20 plus qualified meetings at the conference. And in the following 2.5 months, an additional 50 meetings came in. So I think that this is just a show of how powerful true omni-channel strategies can be if, of course, they are integrated well. And for this, you really need to have trusted partners who know exactly what they're doing. But also, really important, you should never be afraid to get out of your comfort zone and do something that the competitors aren't, because it's in these spaces where you're going to find the best possible results.
Yep, totally agree over there, and I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy that we are here today to find out about this great ways that you've helped other with other projects. So Amazing to be able to provide insights into that, and I'm sure that there's a lot that you can tell us. But how about looking ahead? How do you see this role of outbound evolving into omnichannel marketing strategies? Maybe some emerging trends or technologies you're excited about. I know everybody's talking about AI right now, but there is also a lot of noise on the market. So curious to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah. This is an interesting topic. I mean, of course, we're also attempting to develop an internal or in-house AI solution, which, well, again, it's not as different as we would like it to be from what everybody else in the market is doing. Simply because one thing is AI, and a completely different thing is large language models or data scraping. Or yeah, it's basically nowadays AI has just become a buzzword that you throw around with everything that has any type of automation tied to it. The way that I see the industry developing, first of all, in terms of omni-channel campaigns, it's going to become a must. It's simply going to become a must. I remember the period maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago when we just started relying heavily on LinkedIn outbound. It was something
Yep.
that no other company was doing. It was a taboo topic. Oh, but we're not sure if it's going to work, how it would work, and so on and so forth. If you take a look at the market today, like 10 minutes doesn't pass that I don't get an invite on LinkedIn, that I don't get some type of an email. Now, same
It's
thing
true.
with email marketing. There's always going to be trends. What I see as the next trend is this true implementation of omnichannel. I don't think companies are going to be able to sustain without it, because you can have the absolute best lead generation team in this world. But if you have nothing to showcase, if your case studies aren't structured, if your website isn't lead generation enabled, there's only so much you're going to be able to do. And again, it's going to be the exact same when it comes to investments happening in inbound. If you're just doing inbound and if you don't have a structured outbound approach, or if you don't have good sales execs, not
Exactly.
much points to it. So what I see, or where I see the whole industry is going to go, is that people are going to start relying heavily on service providers such as, let's say, NNC or Sturm, or like in Galen's company in this case also, that really know their way around the market and that are able to help them align their board, that are able to help align their C-level executives and align people within their company to understand, okay, it's no longer the period where sales is battling marketing. No, that's not what we're doing. We really need to align here, because the whole point of this is not to fight for budgets, but to understand what's going to be functional and what's going to be bringing in the best results. When it comes to AI itself, yeah, a super interesting topic. Look, this can theoretically develop up to the extent where maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, there's no longer going to be a need for BDRs or a lead generation specialist, theoretically. At this point, that's not exactly what I'm seeing from the industry, because most of them do rely on ChatGPT. Even if they do rely on some type of specific augmented language models, it's still going to be pumping out very similar messaging. There's only so much that a language model can do, and only as in depth as it can go. Speaking to a human, getting a cold call, and speaking to somebody who's at the other end of the line, that's going to be much different compared to just receiving a stock email. And I'll compare this to the same thing that was happening with LinkedIn 8 years ago. It was innovative, it was new, it was fresh. Nobody was doing it. If you got in touch, you could literally get a call booked with a C-level executive in Microsoft, right? And we did this, so we know that this used to work before. Nowadays, not so much. Theoretically, yes, but it's going to be purely a game of numbers. With AI, I think we're going to be seeing the exact same thing happen. I
Yep.
believe that AI can be leveraged fantastic when it comes to data, because right now we're using a couple of tools and are also trying to develop an in-house tool that's going to help us scrape data and then essentially, let's say, use it for better targeting. For an example, if you scrape LinkedIn profiles, and if you use certain keywords, or if you want certain keywords not to be included, that's where Sales Navigator has a huge pitfall. Zoom Info can't help you much. HubSpot, if let's say you have an integrated CRM system, if you again scrape data, import it, you can't really get much help. If you're using some type of an AI solution that's able to take 1,000 leads, and then you want to remove people who have just joined the position, let's say 25 days ago, you want to remove everybody who hasn't posted in the last 2 weeks specifically, or you want to include people that specifically showed up in the news regarding this and this within larger enterprise companies, that's something that AI can really help you do. When it comes to outbound, what's probably going to be happening is that people are going to start leveraging it heavily. At the beginning, you're going to see a big influx of results. Later,
Yep.
when everybody starts using it, then it's going to plateau and it's going to start going down. and then we're going to get back to basics, back to cold calling, and back to stuff that always works, regardless if it's the 1970s, 80s, 90s, or if it's in the 2020s. So I see companies heavily relying on this type of an omni-channel approach, uh, really looking strategically at what they have posted online, what they're running in terms of inbound, what type of materials they have, and how their brand stands out from the competitors. And then, of course, using these types of omni-channel campaigns to truly support their growth by connecting them with decision makers and helping them push through with their sales. So that's at least what I see happening. I could be completely wrong, but given what we've seen from the industry in the past, I kind of get a sensation that that's the way things are going to go.
Exactly, and everybody's talking about clearly about customization. So I think that's AI is clearly going to be of help over there. Knowing your people
100%.
and just knowing
100%.
them clearly. We're all trying to be custom and all trying to find the right person at the right time with the right message. Like HubSpot says. So let's see where that leads us.
It
Because
is.
clearly,
It is. And just to kind of cut in, I'm so sorry, but what
no
I've
worries.
seen also happening so far is that it will, and customization AI will definitely be able to help. But also, there's a big question: to what extent? Let's take into consideration you mentioned IT companies, right? And let's say
Mm-hmm.
software development companies. I mean,
Yep.
as much as they want to claim that they are unique, at the end of the day, they're
Yeah.
all software development companies the same way that we are an outbound agency. I mean, there's only
Exactly.
so much that we can do. And if each and every one of those is going to leverage AI or large language models to customize their message, I mean, the only thing they're going to be able to use as variables are going to be the different case studies and references they have. But the messages are going to end up sounding heterogeneous. So
Exactly.
homogeneous. So I don't really see this as something that's going to change the industry from the ground up. Of
Yeah.
course, the early adopters are going to definitely be able to see big difference in running things, let's say manually compared to using AI. But later on, when everybody's going to be pumping out the same stuff, I have a feeling we're really not going to see that as the next long term trend. Of course, if AI gets better down the line, definitely. If it gets even more customizable, if we're going to be able to have the AI pre-build the databases, sift through the databases, then reach out to people, then book meetings, and not having to rely on a lead gen specialist. That's a different story. But for now, we're just not there yet.
Clearly not there, and I must agree that the content is mediocre, and you still need a human factor. Like I like to say, AI is not going to take your jobs, but somebody that knows how to use AI might take your job. How to use
100%.
and also optimize it. Yeah, talking about knowing your audience, I wouldn't want to take up all the so airtime. So we have Galen over here from Brand Gen. Galen deals a lot, eats, sleeps, and talks to ABM every day. So, Galen, Brandgen is an account-based advertising platform. You co-founded this. How does it differ from the account-based marketing tools that we already have out there?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, thank you for having me along here, and couldn't agree with Tom more to sort of reinforce what he's saying in terms of AI. If you look at our possible channels, inbound channels, outbound channels, they're already clogged and they're only going to get more clogged. If a sales rep can now generate 5 emails where they used to generate one, or if I can generate 10 blogs that are search friendly and I used to generate two, right? All of these channels are getting, more and more and more clogged. So outbound is getting more difficult. Inbound is getting more difficult, and activating all of these channels gives you that opportunity to be in front of the right person at the right time, in a way
Mm-hmm.
that valuable to the business that's trying to reach out through all these channels. And how does account-based advertising differ from an ABM tool? The genesis for Brand Gen, I used to own, and I ultimately exited what became a HubSpot elite partner.
Yep.
And toward the end of that journey, I was working with a CEO of a medical image software company. And what are you doing for marketing today? And then we're doing trade pub advertising, trade shows, AdWords, that sort of thing. And the CEO piped up and said, "Shouldn't that be talking to this inbound marketing HubSpot thing, that we're talking about today?" And
Yeah.
the answer, probably yes. And that became sort of this nagging question, a splinter in your mind, if you think of the Matrix, like,
Yep.
the itch that you have to scratch, like, what would that look like? And if you're thinking about B2B advertising, of course, the first thing you think about is the ABM tools, because one of the things they do is buyer group advertising or decision maker advertising. But they also do a lot of other things. They might do contact enrichment. They might provide intent, which can be very expensive. They
Yep.
might do email sequences out, and then bolted on the end is the advertising platform. What happens as a result is they do what they do very well, and they pioneered this space of account-based marketing. But unfortunately, because of all the features and functionality that they offer, they can be quite expensive, right? And there is a looming and increasing overlap between a tool like HubSpot, where I've got my sales hub, my marketing hub, my ticketing hub, and now with the acquisition of Clearbit, visitor resolution on websites and contact sourcing and enrichment, right? So HubSpot is sort of moving over into these tools, but the part that isn't covered yet is this account-based advertising. So what we determined was if we took the tech stack and data of that one component and sort of brought it down to make it super affordable and easy to use and bolted it tightly to HubSpot as your CRM,
Yep.
a lot of interesting outcomes result as a function of that. One of the outcomes is we think in terms of account-based RevOps as opposed to account-based marketing. So what's
Yep.
account-based RevOps, and why is it not? You see account-based experience, you see account-based marketing. When you have a tool like HubSpot, and it's the only tool that enables this, where I have my marketing channels, some of them are there. My organic social, my paid social, my AdWords. So HubSpot connects to apps, AdWords, ours, and others, right?
Yep. Yep.
The marketing tool is there with the automation, and it's in the same place as your CRM, right? And it's in
Yep.
the same place as your ticketing, your onboarding. So one of the things that happens is, okay, my source of truth is my CRM in terms of both my marketing and my sales. I can take the powerful automations within HubSpot and I can make automated agility. I can move all of my marketing channels based on what's happening in real time in my sales channel, right? So if I identify an account and it's an important account, I can activate all of these advertising channels, maybe even my direct mail out, right? With brand gen on the open web all the way up to connected TV, right? And then if that account doesn't pan out for whatever reason, I can turn all of those channels off. And the next account that I've identified, I can reactivate all those channels. And I can do this using things like HubSpot workflows. So I can take a target company and I can take that company within HubSpot into a workflow, and I can move the buying group through a series of advertising campaigns and brand gen, much like a contact through a series of emails in an email workflow. So what does that mean? It means sales and marketing alignment in real time. It means lots of services for companies like NNC to set up
Yep.
and orchestrate all of this, which is, obviously awesome. But that idea of real sales and marketing alignment, where the sales team isn't waiting for the every other Thursday ABM meeting to let the
Exactly.
ABM team know that this account isn't great, but we think this other account may be. It can all be orchestrated within your CRM and marketing platform in real time. So sales and marketing alignment, and also your marketing and your sales and your service. So now all of those channels can be activated all the way around the
So you can
flywheel. So
so you can
what
complete
makes
the
it rev up
flywheel.
in
Yeah.
my mind is the alignment between sales and marketing, because it's all in one tool orchestrated there. And it's all the way across the customer journey from finding you to becoming an evangelist. So if you imagine within the ticketing board, we all think of land and expand, right? So we land, the bell rings, the beer flows, the champagne, right? And then we sort of
Exactly.
forget about expand, right? But if you think of having this in HubSpot, I take my ticketing board with my customer success team and I slide the ticket over. Okay, they're onboarded. Now, what is the next cell for that? And all of the dominoes fall as a result of that. Maybe there's a 30-day timer, and then I alert my sales or I alert, my rep for that account. Here's where I think we should be going. All of my multi-channel outreach is now focused on the next cell, right? So sales and marketing alignment and all the way across the customer journey. And the only way really to do that is HubSpot with all of the hubs, and then add on tools like brand gen that let you reach out through channels that aren't native to HubSpot.
And it's
Yeah.
all within HubSpot, and I bet it's very user friendly, actually, because
It's easy and affordable. is what we're after. Yep.
This is what I'm thinking, because a lot of the times I get asked this question. So ABM, but what is it all about? How do I tackle these things? And buying intent and things like that. So if you have
Yep.
it in one tool, I think that's great, and we can clearly develop on that. But how about as well, looking into the future? How do you see this ABM landscape and digital advertising evolving within this omni-channel marketing? Any trends, innovations you're particularly excited about?
Yeah. Well, the challenge for us is privacy,
Hmm.
right? So with the
Yes.
deprecation of the third-party cookie, right now a tool like ours will say, okay, I want to reach CIOs, and there's this art and science of identity resolution, right? So how do I
Hmm.
discern that someone on the other end of a browser is most likely a CIO, right? Right
Yeah.
now, that's heavily reliant on third-party cookies. Now, the death of the third-party cookie and the loss of this resolution is a little bit overstated, because there are solutions that are coming. And in fact, here in the States, where we are, where a lot of this is sort of evolving pretty quickly, where that is headed is actually exciting to me, because I think it's better for the consumer and it's better for our targeting. Where it's headed is right now, we turn to a data provider and then we get a list of email addresses that are CIOs. And then through the ad tech ecosystem, you can do what's called onboarding and turn that into an advertising audience over here. And that's part of what our tool does in an automated way. Right now, that's relying on third-party cookies.
Yeah.
Your own experience as a consumer is beginning, and you're seeing this now. You're on a major news site and it says, hey, you've had your 3 articles, give us an email address,
Exactly.
right? Now what's happening is there's a first-party cookie, that publication, and an email address, the identity resolution. At least I know as a consumer, I'm opting into something. I know there's something that's going to happen with that email address,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I have a feeling that it's going to be used to target ads and email me and that sort of thing. So at least there's an opt-in, but also it's actually a clearer signal of who that individual is. So whereas in the browser, it used to be the third-party cookie and it all happens here in the browser. Now what's going to happen is it's going to happen at the publisher level. They're tied in the back end to say, oh, we know that email address. That's somebody that BrandGen wants to bid to, right? So the accuracy will increase even if the reach decreases a little bit. The other thing is that we saw this coming. If you dive into the ad tech ecosystem, into the weeds, you kind of go like, really? Like, this is how this works? People's intuition about it being really kind of not great. It is really private when you look at it, but it's still a little bit like here in the States, I get a credit report from Experian, and Experian sells me as an ad click over here based on my credit score that I
Yep.
didn't even give them permission to track. So
I get that with my.
a lot of that is going to go away. But we sort of saw that coming. So what we're doing is leaning into context. They're on a page with a keyword. They're on EE Times. They're on Bank News Today, right? So context, in addition to a clearer identity resolution signal, we actually think is going to be an exciting set of developments for us to deliver the right impression at the right time through, whether it's open web or whether it's connected TV, channels that are difficult to block, like emails are because they go into the spam filter, or like phone calls are, right? Or like my in-mail messages that are coming in LinkedIn that I maybe scan, right? So that's sort of where we see things headed.
And just to add on top of this, look, I agree with you 100%. And one thing, there's always going to be workarounds. Always going to be
Right.
workarounds. So, for an example, with the Netherlands, there's this fantastic thing. We're actually one of the rare companies that do quite a lot of outbound cold calling for the Netherlands. Most companies don't want to touch this with a stick because there's this thing called the Dutch Telecommunications Act, which completely prohibits you from dialing somebody unless that person previously agreed to it. Here's the thing. The law is a little bit ambiguous. Yes, it doesn't just protect you from a B2C, it protects you from B2B cold calling as well. But what does it mean when you give somebody clear intent? So theoretically, you should receive like a piece of paper signed or like click through somewhere where you're going to say, yes, you can freely use my number to give me a call. But what if I connect with somebody on LinkedIn and that person freely gave me his phone number? Theoretically, this is some type of like I should be allowed to give him a ring, right? And of
Right.
course, we had a lot of lawyers look into this locally, And turns out that yes, that's exactly what you can do. So another good example of how you can get around this here, what we're using to collect data for a lot of our Dutch customers is just LinkedIn. A whole lot of invites going out every week, connecting with the relevant people. And instead of sending them empty messages and value propositions which they might respond to, might not, we run a multi-channel campaign where we simply give them a call and follow up over LinkedIn. And this is fully legal. So there's always going to be workarounds, regardless of what somebody imposes as new laws or new legislations. And if anything, what it's going to do is it's going to cut competition on the market. So the companies that are going to be remaining, I think, will need to be higher quality. You will need to provide better quality services. Results are most likely going to be better. Like you said, data quality in some cases is definitely going to be better, and results are going to be higher. So yeah, there's always life, even after such constrictions, I would say.
Yeah. Yep. And we all move and evolve as the landscape changes.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but I think
Totally.
omni-channel has become necessary. Every channel has friction. You need to think in terms of activating every channel that you get, that you can, as affordably as you can, and that's part of our value prop with our app in the HubSpot marketplace. I think that's what it's going to take to be successful in B2B moving forward.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better, Galen. I think this can also be used as a conclusion for our podcast today, because honestly, I know the near future is going to bring some changes if we don't adapt, and if we don't, better know our audience and clearly go to them on a specific message. Well, we won't stand a chance with all these changes and all these preoccupations of for our audience into choosing the right service, choosing the right brand, uh, opting in or opting out of our messaging or our emailing or stuff like that. So I think it's going to be exciting, and I'm happy that we're all partnering over here to provide the best quality for our customers.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for inviting me along. Always learn something new with these, and all available to answer any questions anyone has.
100%. Same here. Always interesting talking to you guys.
Amazing, guys. Thank you so much, and let's see what the future brings us.